What do I invest in now? It's a question that I've been asked recently, and I just want to say from the start that I think this is a bit of a silly question because why does it matter what I invest in? Because my journey is mine and yours is yours. So be careful asking questions like this because all this is going to do is give you a whole heap of information that is going to confuse you even more. And when I start telling you about some of these things, you're then going to be like, oh, okay, well, why? Oh, well, which ones? Oh, well, and you're not going to have any context of that. And I see too many people, looking at what people are getting in their Sharesies account, for instance, seeing what someone else has got. Oh, they're up 33%. What did they invest in? Who cares? Like the next day or after that screenshot's been taken, it might be down. So you have to be really careful asking questions like this, and you want to ensure that you're investing or putting your money towards the things that you care about. But that said, I will answer the question and we will go through some of these things because I am open about it. But remember that my journey is mine and it's not yours. So from the top, I have some investments in crypto and I have put money that I can afford to lose. The whole lot could go to zero and my life won't be over. And I will carry on. So I have money in cryptocurrencies. And so again, this is what I mean. You're going to be like, oh, well, which ones? Well, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to go through all of them, but I have exposure to cryptocurrency. Now, I don't own a property. I have no property. It bores me. It's not my thing. I get it. I understand why people want to do it because of leverage. And that's how money flows through assets in New Zealand. But a lot of it's overpriced junk and it's just not, it doesn't interest me. I love business. I've studied business for the last 20 years. So naturally, it would probably make more sense for me to invest into something that I enjoy, business, stocks, and even my own businesses and myself, because that's the industry and area that interests me and what I like allocating my money towards. So I have an emergency fund. So it's not really an investment, but there's cash sitting there liquid so that if something happens, I can deploy that. And I had to deploy $10,000 recently towards something, and that's sitting there so that I could do that at speed. Now I have some PI funds. Now that means that because they're set up as a PI investment fund, they are capped at 28% in tax, which is great for me because I'm in the top tax bracket. So I get taxed at 39% on any of my additional income. So that saves me 11% of tax. Now you're going to be like, okay, well, like, where'd you find that? Well, this is actually what's called a wholesale investment. So you take on a whole heap of risk and you put your money in and you know that this could go to zero as well. Will my life end if it does? No. Will I be gutted? Yes, because it took me ages to stack up that cash, but it is what it is, and hopefully it doesn't. But basically, they take that money, they go and invest it, and then they pay me a return for doing that, and then they pay 28% of that profit to the IRD, and I'm left with the 62%. So I've got some of that. I have a Sharesies account, and I invest in various New Zealand shares via my Sharesies account. I have a Jarden account, which used to be called Direct Broking, which I think was owned by ANZ, but that was my very first share account when I was 17. So I was buying shares when I was 17. But don't worry, I wasn't keeping them. I was doing dumb shit like everybody else. Whoa, that one's up 100%. I'm taking that out and I'm going to go blow it. So that's what I did, but I've still held that account. So that is over. It's coming up 20 years old, that account. And I still log into that and I have shares sitting in that. One that I often talk about on the podcast and stuff is Heartland Bank, because I think that more people are going to then use reverse mortgages. And I think banking is a profitable industry. They're a bit of a challenger bank, let's say, and their share price has been going like this recently. So my stocks are getting an absolute hiding, but they're a high dividend payer. And that fits in with my strategy around getting the dividend if I want it. Sometimes I reinvest it back into the company if I want it to then help subsidize my life costs. So again, you have to understand, like, why are you doing the things that you want to do when you invest in? And they'll be different for each of us. But I have, shares. So through Sharesies and then through Jarden, I have a Kernel Wealth account and I invest some funds into their one of their cash funds, which basically is again a PI fund. So then I'm only losing 28% to tax, not 39%. So it's tax advantageous for me. And basically that is just a blend of different cash options that they're earning interest on. And then it increases in value and I can sell those down when I need to access that cash. But that's some ammunition. I have a Milford fund as well, so I stack some cash in Milford. I also have a Generate fund as well, so a thematic Generate fund that I put money into. I also have a KiwiSaver account, which I put more than the minimum. I voluntarily put more in. What an idiot! Why would you do that, Luke? Because I'm going to fucking build it up and have a stack of cash sitting in an account that I can't touch that's going to compound for time. And in my 20s, I didn't contribute to it because I took the money and paid down my credit card to get out of debt. So I had years where I didn't contribute. And then I did the whole, oh, I'll just start contributing as soon as. Ever heard anyone say that? As soon as what? Oh, as soon as I can be bothered. Can you ever be bothered? No, because there's always something demanding your cash. Oh, no, now maybe I'll pay down my car loan faster, etc., etc. So I'm now playing in my 30s a bit of catch up for the compounding that I fucked up in my 20s because I stopped contributing and I missed all of those gains from that money that would have been going in there. So I'm going hard to catch that back up and pay back the sins that I had from my 20s by doing that in my 30s. Now, my household chattels, they are, oh, I don't have any because I always rent and I rent fully furnished. Oh my God, you're a millionaire in New Zealand, you don't own a property and you're renting, you don't own any stuff, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't care, like that TV's not mine, the couches and stuff in here aren't mine, this laptop's mine, it's probably the most valuable, one of the most valuable assets that I have. But I don't care for like stuff. Yes, I have some stuff and I love colognes and I love a little bit of Burberry clothing. But other than that, like I don't need insurance for chattels because I don't really have any. Like apart from this, but this is covered via business. So I don't need like, contents insurance apart from, renters insurance and stuff like that to be protected. But yeah, I don't have heaps of stuff. So anyway, that's I know something that people put on their asset list. What else we got here? Oh, I've got a bond on this property, so I'll get that back if I don't break the place when I leave. And that's it. Like that's all that I'm invested in. But realistically, my biggest investment that I always make is into my income earning ability. The reason I have assets now and some of those things is because I moved from being an employee earning $80,000 a year to targeting a $400,000 a year income and figuring out, could I become that person? What sort of value would I have to give to the marketplace to do that? And I've been able to achieve that in one of the financial years. I might not always stay at that, but I'm going to definitely continue to aim further up than that. But then you pay, I've paid 10 times the amount of tax than I have when I was an employee. So in one financial year, my tax, when I left my job, I think I paid 15 grand of tax. I think I had a look last year, I paid $160,000 worth of income tax alone. Holy shit, man, that is pretty gnarly. Probably it's even more than that because I didn't even calculate the pie tax. Anyway, it's just fucking gnarly, 10 times the amount of tax. But what I've done throughout this 10-year journey of going on, down my own path to build these assets is to figure out, okay, how am I going to build $1 million worth of liquid assets or assets on paper without doing the property thing and without using devalued New Zealand currency via property. So people think that they're getting wealthier on paper because of property, but often the money is just becoming worth less. So then inflation is being beaten via property. But anyway, story for another day. I was like, how can I build $1 million worth of assets? And I've done that because I've got business assets as well that I didn't talk about there, but like my business ventures, they have a value and they could be sold. So that would turn into cash and that would then go on to that. But people are like, no, you can't count that. Oh, okay, sorry. Fucking, someone who doesn't have any assets gets to tell you, what you can and can't count. Who cares? Like you're on your own individual journey, do your own thing. Property's not even liquid either, but people count that. It takes ages to sell a box of sticks out there and everyone thinks that they're worth so much. They never, they buy it for 600, sell it for 900, made 300K. No, you didn't. No, you did. What about the real estate fees? What about the legal fees? What about the interest? What about the rates? Oh, no, that doesn't count. Oh, okie dokie. So people are weird with all of this stuff, but run your own race and have your own goals and figure out what it is that you're trying to do and then invest in things that are going to help you get there a little bit faster. But again, has asking that question, or what are you invested in? Like, does it really help? Because I could go to a financial advisor and I'd be like, oh, well, you probably should be doing this instead or whatnot. I like to figure this stuff out and have a crack. And I used to self-manage my own KiwiSaver, for instance, and had some horrific years, had some great years, brought gold really low, sold it before it exploded. So, I got stories for Africa But going back to what I was saying, the main thing that I think we all want to invest into is ourselves and becoming more valuable. And the funny thing is people will be like, oh, what stock should I invest in, all this stuff? And I'm thinking like, man, have you ever invested $300 into a counselor? Like, why don't you go and spend an hour with a counselor and unpack some of your issues so that you can explode 10x yourself and become somebody that you currently aren't because you're dealing with trauma or PTSD, someone told me today, or anxiety or fucking all these things, man. Like, don't worry about Mainfreight, man. Don't worry about Mainfreight and Genesis and the VU, man. I love the VU. The VU will set you free, etc. Over in America, the S&P 500 and stuff. It's like, go and deal with your shit, man. Invest into yourself and invest into your income earning potential and focus on that throughout your life. And you can get a way bigger return doing that. I've gone from, $80,000 of income to hundreds of thousands. But I've had to become more valuable and I've had to invest in myself and I've had to seek coaching. I've had to do counseling and stuff like that myself and unpack things and figure out what's getting in the way. Why does my mind get stuck at 10,000, 100,000? Is $1 million a lot? Is it not? Like all these different things. If you don't unpack some of that stuff and invest into that, then, you're not in control of what's going to happen to Mainfreight over the next 30 days. Of what's going to happen to some commercial building that, those funds could be invested in, for instance. Might get ripped in an earthquake and I find out, hey, that's what we had some of that money parked in. So what are you in control of? And why don't we talk enough in this country about it being okay to invest in yourself, your own business ventures, your family, your health, and also your income earning potential, because that's where you're going to get your biggest gains.